At that time also, the Chief Minister on the floor of the House had made the statement. So today, the Special Investigation Team has actually arrested these four, saying that they had vandalized in connection with this.
Ritu, you're pointing out that this is an issue that has struck a chord across the state, and you also had a statement made on the floor of the House in the State Assembly. Who was the complainant in the case that went to the police in the first instance? Because I'm sure, and as you're reporting, there are a lot of allegations and counter-allegations, political crossfire, which must be happening between the Congress and the left parties.
When the first incident happened, when SFI workers barged into the MP's office and vandalized, and when these pictures came out, SFI had taken action against this committee, and even this left had told that they do not support this kind of vandalism on an opposition MP inside an opposition MP's office. So after that, police officials also faced action in this case. It was after that a special team was formed to look into all these allegations and counter allegations.
All right, Neetu, thank you so much for getting us all the details. We'll continue tracking this story and much more here on CNN News 18 on the other side of a quick break. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Bits to Billions, the unicorn story. We're in the offices of Grow, a startup founded 6 years ago to make investing easy. We have Lalit and Harsh. Do your parents use Grow?
Oh yeah, I do.
They do?
No, my parents don't do. No, my parents are very my dad is a farmer. So my parents are from a very small village in Madhya Pradesh.
How do they react कि Lalit ने unicorn बनाया?
They are stoic. They are stoic. For them, what matters is you create some positive impact in the world.
So how did you end up from there to IIT Bombay?
So I lived with my grandparents. They were in Khargone, is a district. So I studied with them.
That's an amazing journey, Lalit.
A lot of luck.
Are raiding. There are other raids also being carried out in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu, in other parts of Delhi and NCR. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party Member of Parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला ये है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। ABG शिपयार्ड में 23,000 करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। अडानी के पोर्ट पे हजारों करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। कितनी कार्रवाइयां बताऊं? येदियुरप्पा के खिलाफ कुछ हुआ? व्यापम घोटाले में कुछ हुआ? कुछ हुआ इन चीजों में, इन घोटालों में? रेड्डी ब्रदर्स पे कुछ हुआ? गए जेल वो लोग? हुई कोई कार्रवाई? तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का असली चेहरा पूरे देश और दुनिया के सामने बेनकाब हो रहा है।
So that was senior MP Sanjay Singh speaking to CNN News 18, where he has said that all this is being done to demolish the image or the corruption-free image of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now it remains to be seen these raids that have been going on since 8 a.m. What comes out of these raids, and if the Aam Aadmi Party can actually put out its defense on this attack by the central agencies.
उस लूट की बात दिल्ली की जनता कर रही थी, गली गली में महिलाएं कर रही थी, बच्चे कर रहे थे, मंदिरों के सामने, मस्जिदों के सामने, गुरुद्वारों के सामने, देवालयों के सामने बैठे हुए लोग, जहां शराब की दुकानें खुल रही थी, गली गली में शराब की दुकान खोल रही थी, सभी इसकी बात कर रहे थे और पुकार कर रहे थे कि ये बड़ी लूट है, एक बड़ी साजिश है, इस पे इसका दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होना चाहिए। आज जब से सीबीआई इंक्वायरी हुई, सीबीआई की आज रेड पड़ी है, अब इनको इसमें क्या परेशानी हो रही है कि जो भी हुआ है उसका दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो।
Akash Sharma is joining me live from Manish Sisodia's residence. Rupashri is tracking the Aam Aadmi Party's reaction. Ananya Bhatnagar is at the residence of the Lieutenant Governor. First to you, Akash, any update that you have for us? I believe CBI officials are scrutinizing whatever files, documents they can lay their hands on at Mr. Sisodia's residence.
So, Arunima, this is the only information that we have, that CBI officers are very much inside this particular house. And if I can ask my VJ Vikas to show you the visual, this is the official residence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And we are learning that around 8 to 8:15, CBI officers reached this particular place. And since then, they are looking for some documents, some official document, and are searching this particular place. Also, we are learning that other than this.
Right, some latest news coming in where the Sports Ministry has requested FIFA and the Asian Football Confederation to let Indian club sides play the AFC tournaments. Now remember, after that ban that had come from the top football federation due to undue influence from third parties, there are different kinds of bans and problems that various football teams are facing right now. And that is the reason that there is a request that has gone from the Sports Ministry that has requested FIFA and the Asian Football Confederation to let Indian club sides play in the AFC tournaments. There are multiple clubs which are not being allowed to play in the AFC tournament. Let me cut across to my colleague Anand Narasimhan, who is joining us live on the broadcast. We'll try and cut across to Anand and get more details on the story. But there have been various examples, like a club in Kerala which wanted to be a part of the AFC Women's Club Championship. It was not allowed, citing the FIFA ban. There has been much controversy here in India as far as that ban is concerned. Anand Narasimhan is joining us on the broadcast. Anand, tell us about this request that the Sports Ministry has put forward.
Well, this is under the athletes first principle. And more importantly, this has been done because the teams are already in Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
And they had two scheduled matches, one on the 23rd, the other one on the 26th as part of the competition. And the athletes and these players are already, one of the clubs is already present there. The other team is supposed to play in the AFC Cup in Bahrain. And that's why they have said that they should be allowed to participate because they have qualified and they deserve to get a chance. But more importantly, the priority is the team that has now reached Uzbekistan,
yes,
and who's already there. The embassy has been asked to give them all assistance, as much of assistance as they can. But the AFC women's team from Kerala is the one which is already present there.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault because they were already there in that area to play the matches before the FIFA suspension of the AIF happened. And that is why this letter has been written saying that till the time matters are sorted, at least athletes who are already there and it's no fault of theirs and clubs which are already participating, they should be allowed. So we'll have to now see how FIFA responds, how the AFC responds, and whether or not they will be allowed to play. So immediate priority is the club team of the women's team, which is now in Uzbekistan, who are already there, and they have two matches scheduled on 23rd and 27th. And what they're going to do, because if the AFC is not hosting them or if there is a resistance, then this team will have to find its way back, and it will have to be facilitated by the Indian embassy there.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why the FIFA and AIF, this request has been made. The email has been sent both to FIFA and the AFC, and they said that this team, Sri Gokulam Kerala FC, is already in Uzbekistan, so allow them a chance to play. Meanwhile, they've also said, please consider that the AFC Women's Club Championship West Region, which is going to be played, and the ATK Mohun Bagan team is slated to play the AFC Cup 2022 Interzone semi-finals. That's on the September 7th in Bahrain. They should also be allowed to participate, and they should allow. And they have said that Indian club sides should play the AFC tournaments because you must put athletes first. Because this matter, they're confident, should be resolved eventually.
Anand, is there a past precedent? I mean, is there any certainty or any kind of indication that we can have from the past examples as to how FIFA is likely to react? Because you're talking about the players first policy.
Yes, it is. There have been instances where some leeway has been given, although immediately it doesn't come to mind. But there are nations and club teams which have been allowed. Here it is women's football. Once again, the football team has been doing very well, and it's not the fault of the club teams. It's not the fault of the players. Now, FIFA has in the past allowed clubs to play, even nations to play, even at the times that things have been in a quagmire as far as the federations are concerned. It's not with respect to India only, but with other nations too. This has been allowed on certain case-to-case basis and considerations. In other times, it has been rejected outright, saying that, we will not allow. So now we have to see if there is a huge amount of influence or, of course, India's intervention at the highest level within the government bears fruit and these players do get a chance to play.
Thank you, Anand, for getting us all that perspective. Here's hoping that the FIFA takes note of the request and the athletes' first policy is really respected. There's some more breaking news coming in. Let's go to that. TRS MLC K. Kavit has written to the Chief Justice of India regarding the release of 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano case of 2002. She says, and I'm telling more excerpts from that letter, Bilkis was 21 years old, 5 months pregnant at the time when the heinous crime was committed. I implore the Honourable Supreme Court of India to save the nation's faith in our laws. That's the letter that has been written. Swastika with us on the broadcast. Swastika, tell us more about this letter and what kind of intervention does she request from the Supreme Court?
Well, the TRS, as far as the Bilkis Bano case is concerned, has been extremely vocal about the release of the 11 convicts. In fact, they have been attacking the centre over the issue, accusing the Modi government of setting a wrong precedent, especially when at a time when atrocities against women have been on the rise. So in this context, the TRS MLC from Nizamabad, K. Kavita, who is also the Chief Minister's daughter, has made a special request to the CJI to look into the matter and ensure that this kind of injustice is not just meted out to Bilkis Bano and her family, but also to all the women who have been protesting over the issue.
All right. There have been a lot of outrage and a lot of comments that came after the release of all those convicts under a special remission policy by the state government. Let's see what happens if the Supreme Court at all takes notice or cognizance of that entire issue. With that, it's a wrap from me. Ridhima takes the news forward.
The CBI team is allegedly at Sisodia's home. This is something that Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Delhi Chief Minister, is saying.
This is not the first time. They were basically anticipating that CBI would be arresting, but at this point in time, he has tweeted and he has said that CBI is at his house and he is welcoming them.
But the fact that the team is there on ground means that prima facie it finds reasons to believe what LG has recommended, that the excise policy must be looked into by the top investigating agencies.
The CBI is at the Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence now, and it can be said that this is a raid by the Central Bureau of Investigation.
Good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching The Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. Our rolling coverage continues of the raids that we saw earlier in the day at Minister Manish Sisodia's residence here in the national capital. Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has been charged by the CBI with criminal conspiracy in connection with the Delhi excise policy. Now, he is being charged with violating the excise policy, lapses in policy implementation, and also giving undue benefit to license holders. Now, responding to this situation, Manish Sisodia has claimed that he is being harassed for all the good work that the government has done. He also said that he will not be brought down by conspiracies. The Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal stood firmly behind his deputies, saying that he is extremely proud of the work that has been done in the national capital, especially because he was featured on the front page of the New York Times on the 18th of August. As per Enforcement Directorate sources, the Enforcement Directorate will be asking for the CBI's FIR against Manish Sisodia, and the agency will be registering then an ECIR related to action against Manish Sisodia. Now, before I get in my colleagues and the guests as well, just for the benefit of our viewers, we want to break down what actually is the excise policy and what are the allegations that are being leveled by the CBI as of now. So let's first begin with what essentially was this excise policy as far as the Delhi government is concerned. Delhi, the national capital, was divided into 32 zones, each zone having about 27 liquor vents. Now, the allegation by the CBI is that the shop owners were given big discount, which actually meant that you were cheating the government of its revenue. Second point is, As far as the policy is concerned, only private liquor shops could run 2 to 3 vends in each municipal ward. Here the allegation by the CBI is that many ineligible vendors actually also got licenses because they actually gave bribes to the Delhi government. The third big point is that there were flexible rules for licensees offering discounts. You could set your own prices. Here the allegation by the agency is that heavy discounts on imported beer, the government lost out on significant taxes. But as of now, this has resulted into a war of words between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. The BJP is saying this is a corrupt government. If you have nothing to hide, cooperate with the investigative agencies. The Aam Aadmi Party is saying this is a witch hunt. This is vendetta politics. Let me bring in my colleagues who have been tracking all these developments for us since morning. Rupashri Nanda tracking developments of the Aam Aadmi Party. Akash, he has been stationed outside Manish Sisodia's residence since morning. And our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar, who is tracking the game plan as far as legal action of the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. Rupashri, let me come to you first. Big allegations against the Aam Aadmi Party of corruption, quid pro quo, and also having certain individuals who became recipients of proceeds of crime. How is the Aam Aadmi Party responding?
Well, the Aam Aadmi Party has been asked this question ever since the Lieutenant Governor actually gave his go-ahead for a CBI probe against Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, who was also in charge of revenue. Now, the Aam Aadmi Party's defense essentially precisely on the exact excise policy. If you note very clearly, or if you pay close attention to what each of the leaders are saying, actually has come only from the man under the scanner, that is Manish Sisodia himself, who actually held a press conference about 2 weeks back and gave the entire chronology of the Delhi government's new excise policy. The cornerstone of that policy, according to Sisodia, was to remove government from the business of liquor, and number 2, to ensure equitable distribution of liquor vends across the national capital. And now, as the cabinet note, which was and also the chief secretary's note, which was sent to the Lieutenant Governor, and also Delhi government's own cabinet note also points out, the policy actually did not have the kind of results that it was believed that it could have. It did not really take off from the ground. There was a revenue loss to the government. Many liquor shops were not able to open their shops because, according to the Aam Aadmi Party, the Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal actually changed his position in the last moment, and it has led to a lot of confusion and unhappiness also amongst various stakeholders on the ground. Now the question essentially is, was there an intent of corruption when the new liquor policy was formed? Has there been a quid pro quo? Is Manish Sisodia the beneficiary of something that he's not supposed to have? Has he benefited people who are close to him in lieu of some other favors? Now those are the kind of charges that have been leveled by the BJP, and that is something that has to be proven ultimately in the court of law only. As of now, Aam Aadmi Party is completely defending Manish Sisodia. Each one of the leaders from top to bottom, whether it is Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal to the level of the grassroots level worker, each one of them is standing solidly behind Manish Sisodia. And BJP also is trying to make the most of this moment by trying to dent the Aam Aadmi Party where it would hurt the Aam Aadmi Party the most, that is its image of being an honest party which actually delivers on the ground. And remember, elections in Gujarat are coming up, and this battle is going to play out over there also. Finally, I would like to say that it's almost 9 hours that raids have been going on at Sisodia's residence, and our sources have told us that he's completely cut off and he's not been allowed to access his phone to be in touch with his party people or anybody else that he might want to be in touch with. I would also like to mention, as Ananya has also mentioned before, and I have also mentioned before, Aam Aadmi Party is completely prepared for this kind of an eventuality. Ever since the Lieutenant Governor gave the go-ahead for the CBI probe, Aam Aadmi Party has been in consultation with various lawyers, including Sibal, and he is the one who is likely to fight the case if it goes to the court.
Correct.
Now,
so the Aam Aadmi Party is also preparing a game plan as far as what are the legal options with them, because as Rupashri is rightly pointing out, the Aam Aadmi Party representatives have been saying this is something we expected, we predicted something like this. Akash, let me bring you in the conversation as well. Around 8:30 in the morning is when activities started at Manish Sisodia's residence. Are officials from the CBI still present?
So, Ridhima, 9 hours and we are still counting. So, officials are very much present. And if I can ask my VJ to show you the visuals as of now, we are seeing these sort of activities inside this particular house. There you see the CBI officers at this point in time. If I can show you the frame, there you see the CBI officers at this point in time. They are giving it a check. They are checking the car of Manish Sisodia. This is the car that you are seeing in the visuals. So, this car belongs to Manish Sisodia, and they are giving it a check. They are looking for something. As I mentioned earlier, they are looking for some sort of documents. And as of now, it is clearly visible that they are giving it a check as to they are looking in the car now. Also, let me tell you that as I mentioned earlier, 9 hours and we are still counting. We still don't know as to what they are looking for. But we have learned that, they have taken all the electronic items, electronic gadgets, and also they are searching for some sort of documents. Just a few minutes back, we saw that they were, eating food, and as of now, there is no plan of leaving right now, because we are learning that it will take some more time as of now, and after 2 to 3 hours we can expect the CBI officers will be leaving. But at this point in time, I'm showing you the visuals where you see the CBI officers are basically giving it a check. They are checking the car of Manish Sisodia and they are looking for some sort of document. This is what we have learned.
Okay, so Akash, what you're telling us is 9 hours on, officials are still present at Manish Sisodia's residence. They're now searching his car. They're looking for certain documents. No sign of them leaving just yet. But Akash, I also want to now talk to you about the reaction as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. Earlier in the day, we'd seen some protesters who had gathered outside Manish Sisodia's residence who were eventually detained. Are you seeing any more workers outside his residence now? Akash, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Ridhima.
Akash, could you talk to us about what is happening around you? We saw those visuals of the agency officials searching Manish Sisodia's car. Are they now leaving his residence?
So, as of now, no, but yes, they were definitely looking for some sort of document inside the car, and this car belongs to Manish Sisodia. This is what we have learned, and they were basically looking for some sort of document inside the car. This is what we were seeing. At this point in time, there is no info as to by what time they'll be leaving, but 9 hours and we are still counting. This is what I mentioned earlier, in fact, Ridhima, that they are still, investigating in this particular case where an FIR has already been registered and Manish Sisodia is in fact one of the accused. And, it is all after the recommendation that were made by LG, Bilkis Bano, in the month of July, where he mentioned that some sort of financial quid pro quo happened, and that's the reason why he recommended CBI probe into this particular matter. And after that, we saw on and off developments related to politics in this particular case. But now today, this is the major development where starting from 8 a.m. CBI officers have reached this particular place. CBI officers have reached Manish Sisodia's residence, and this is not the only place. 21 locations are being searched as of now, and we are seeing on and off activities inside this particular house. But we are still expecting that in some time from now, you can say 1 hour or 2 hours, that CBI officers would be leaving with some sort of documents. We can expect some sort of seizure as well. True. But still we haven't got any sort of confirmation about it.
Okay, so no signs of the CBI officials leaving just yet. Searches happening as far as Manish Sisodia's car is also concerned. Let me bring in Ananya in the conversation as well. Ananya, as you've been talking to our viewers, that a game plan, a legal plan is already being readied, because the Aam Aadmi Party is saying we expected this. What are you picking up by the means of sources or legal experts? Who all are having conversations with Aam Aadmi Party as of now?
Well, yes, Ridhima, before that, I'll take you through the chronology of events, what has happened so far. First of all, the Cabinet Secretary, the Chief Secretary has given out a file to the LG office in which various discrepancies were cited, and it was said that this policy has in fact damaged the public exchequer to a larger level, and there are irregularities into it, following which the LG writes to the Home Ministry seeking a CBI probe into this matter, in fact recommending a CBI probe into this matter. Afterwards, we saw that a preliminary inquiry was conducted by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and then FIR, that is a regular case, were registered into this particular case, and today searches have been conducted. 9 hours, 21 locations still continuing, the searches are still continuing, and as Akash was pointing out, they are trying to search for documentary evidence, because remember, in cases of CBI and ED wherein these special agencies are involved, they have special powers to arrest, but to justify that arrest they have a higher threshold as well, because they have to certify, when they go before the court and produce the accused, they have to show that there is a documentary evidence available, there is a reasonable evidence to believe that the person is guilty of something and has done something wrong. So this is what the challenge before the CBI are, and hence they are trying to make their searches perfect, pitch perfect. But now what the legal option, as far as the legal options are concerned, we've broken it down first for our viewers that the Aam Aadmi Party is in constant touch with Mr. Kapil Sibal, senior advocate, 50 years of legal experience, a legal baron, a name in his own. He's been consulted. One meeting has already been held. Various deliberations were on with regards to the laws relating to which Mr. Sisodia can be booked under, and the charges on which he can be booked under, and what is the legal route possible for him to be taken out, and what can be the legal strategy and the way forward. And not only Mr. Sibal, but definitely remember senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who has represented the Aam Aadmi Party government in various matters, including that of the petitions challenging the new excise policy of the Delhi government before the Delhi High Court. Mr. Singhvi had represented the Delhi government, and in fact he also is very well versed with this new liquor policy of the Delhi government, so he might also be consulted with Mr. Sibal. It's very confirmed. The sources have confirmed to us one meeting has already been held. Various lacunas of law and in fact the legal propositions have already been discussed with, and a way is being taken forward as to what should be done legally, because ultimately it's the court of law where all of this would land into a trial, or would the case of the CBI would fall flat, and while the CBI would try to in fact make a watertight case against Mr. Sisodia would turn out to find the best possible defense into the particular case against the CBI's prosecution.
Okay, Ananya, I'll request you to stay on with us. I quickly want to go back to our colleague Akash, who continues to get us those visuals from Manish Sisodia's residence. Akash, I just want to point out to some details that you were bringing to us a short while ago, that Manish Sisodia continues to be at his residence, but electronic devices have been taken away from him. Any more details that you're picking up on those lines?
So this is what we are picking up from our sources within the Aam Aadmi Party, Ridhima. And also let me tell you that just a few minutes back I was showing you the visuals where CBI officers were basically giving it a check, giving that car a check. They were looking for some sort of documents on. Also we saw that how the officers took out some sort of documents from that car and have taken those documents. So at the end of the day we are expecting some sort of seizures from this particular place, but also we are learning that Manish Sisodia would not be arrested at this point in time, because agency would be calling Manish Sisodia in case it is required. And also 9 hours is still counting. This is what we are telling again and again to our viewers, because this all started at the 8 a.m. In the morning, and since then we are seeing that how political developments are unfolding, and a war of words between Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP, where both the parties are alleging each other, and also BJP is saying that this is a kind of loot that Aam Aadmi Party is involved in. On the other hand, we are seeing that all the top brass of the Aam Aadmi Party are basically they are holding press conferences again and again, and they are somewhere saying that on one hand we have our achievement where an international publication has talked about our education model, and on the other hand we have CBI who's which is very much present at the residence of Manish Sisodia, who is the education minister as well.
Correct.
And
so the narrative that's coming in from the Aam Aadmi Party is that this is just vendetta politics and a witch hunt, and this is something that we've heard from them in the past as well, that central agencies are being misused. I'll just request my colleagues to stay on with us. Let's introduce our guests who are joining us to take this discussion forward as well. We have policy analyst Sumitra Goenka, and we also have an AAP leader, Taranjeet Singh. Good to have both of you on the broadcast with us. Taranjeet Singh, I want to begin with you. Serious allegations against ministers of your party. Talking specifically as far as the excise policy is concerned, the allegations are that there were benefits to ministers directly within the Aam Aadmi Party. There was quid pro quo. Certain private individuals also benefited. All of this resulted into serious loss of revenue for the exchequer.
My one-line answer straight away, that BJP is known for such kind of things, and all across the world now, not only in India. CBI and ED raid means that the person is honest. He is from the opposition camp. He does not agree to the dictates of BJP. He opposes the anti-people policies of BJP, and he does not follow the dictates or the program and policies of BJP. This is worldwide established fact, that in case you are not falling in line with BJP, there will be ED raid, there will be CBI raid. Similar kind of excise policy is in Jammu, and we have 1,400 crore rupees loss per year.
No,
CBI
but then
is
the other
sleeping
question
over it.
also,
Why the
Taranjeet Singh,
CBI is
is
sleeping over
that
it?
if you were so
They will
confident
find
with your
nothing.
policy, why did the Aam Aadmi Party government decide to go back to a previous model? I'll let you respond to that. Let me bring in Sumitra in the discussion
There they
as
will
well.
find
Sumitra,
nothing,
this
but
is not
where
what
they
just
will
the Aam
find
Aadmi...
something,
One sec.
the
Let me bring
CBI
Sumitra in
will
the
not
conversation
go.
as well. This is not what just the Aam Aadmi Party is saying. All the opposition parties have come together. We've seen various reactions from the DMK, the TMC and others, that this is what the BJP does. They continue to misuse central agencies, and this is just means of harassing the opposition parties today.
Ma'am,
One sec, Taranjeet Singh, I'll come back to you. Let me just bring in Sumitra as well. Sumitra.
Yeah, Riddhima, good to be on your show. I think the suspicion arises here when actually the LG had asked for the CBI probe, and immediately the Aam Aadmi Party went ahead and withdrew the liquor policy, the excise policy, whatever you call it. So basically, why did they do it? Secondly, there are contradictory statements. I have myself heard Atishi Marlena and others who have come on the show and also who have given press statements that they were making huge profits from this excise policy. Then why did they withdraw the policy? If they were so happy with the policy, if everything was going fine, then why did they withdraw this policy? And secondly, one more thing I don't understand here is why is it linked to vendetta politics, and why is it linked to the education policy? Whenever we are talking about the liquor policy, the answer comes that because we are doing some good work in education, this is happening. But there are lacunas in the education policy also. How many schools have been opened? Why are 60%
I apologize for interrupting. We're cutting across to a press conference. Let's listen in.
मनीष सिसोदिया जी का ट्वीट देखा कि उनके यहाँ सीबीआई पहुंच चुकी है। उन्होंने स्वागत किया कि स्वागत है सीबीआई का। उसके बाद से पूरे दिन भर सुबह से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अलग अलग नेता प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के माध्यम से, अलग अलग चैनलों के माध्यम से तीन बातें कह रहे हैं। पहली बात कह रहे हैं कि ये जो गिरफ्तारी हुई है, ये अरविंद केजरीवाल की सरकार ने जो शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य पर अच्छे काम किए हैं उसके लिए नहीं हुई है। ये गिरफ्तारी हुई है शराब नीति में घोटाला हुआ है उसकी वजह से। लेकिन एक भी भाजपा के नेता को नहीं पता घोटाला क्या हुआ है। कह रहे हैं शराब में घोटाला हुआ इसलिए जांच केंद्र सरकार ने बिठा दी। अभी मैं सुन रहा था, भाजपा के एक नेता कह रहे थे कि पूरे दिल्ली की माताएं खुश हैं कि मनीष सिसोदिया के ऊपर छापे पड़ रहे, क्योंकि मनीष सिसोदिया जी ने जो है शराब नीति के अंदर तब्दील करके उम्र कम कर दी थी। भाजपा के नेताओं को उस दिन इस बात पर शर्म नहीं आई जब गुजरात के अंदर से लगातार खबरें आ रही थीं। ऑन रिकॉर्ड 43 लोगों को जहरीली शराब पीने से मौत हुई। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का एक भी नेता गुजरात से लेकर के केंद्र तक दिल्ली में बैठा हुआ एक भी नेता इस बात पर बोलने के लिए तैयार नहीं है कि अगर शराब नीति की वजह से मनीष सिसोदिया के ऊपर अगर छापे पड़े हैं तो आज तक 43 लोगों की मौत के जिम्मेदार कौन लोग हैं? उनके खिलाफ छापे क्यों नहीं पड़ रहे? उनके खिलाफ सीबीआई अब तक एफआईआर दर्ज क्यों नहीं कर रही है? गुजरात के अंदर लाशें बिछ जाएंगी शराब पी करके जहरीली, उस पर कार्रवाई नहीं होगी। और कह रहे हो कि शराब की वजह से कार्रवाई हो रही है। कह रहे हैं भ्रष्टाचार की वजह से कार्रवाई हो रही है। केंद्र सरकार भ्रष्टाचार बर्दाश्त नहीं करेगी। भ्रष्टाचार अगर बर्दाश्त नहीं करने की सचमुच आपकी मंशा होती तो जिस सबसे बड़ा अभी लेटेस्ट उदाहरण बुंदेलखंड एक्सप्रेसवे में जिस भ्रष्टाचार की वजह से जिसका उद्घाटन खुद प्रधानमंत्री ने किया, भ्रष्टाचार की वजह से वो सारी सड़क जो है वो टूट गई, आपको आज तक फुर्सत नहीं मिली उसके खिलाफ एफआईआर करने की, आज तक आपको फुर्सत नहीं मिली उस पर कार्रवाई करने की, उस पर सीबीआई जांच बिठाने की। इसलिए यह बात उठ करके आ रही है कि ना तो आपका मनसा शराब नीति को लेकर के कार्रवाई करने का है, ना तो आपका मनसा भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ कार्रवाई करने का है। आपका मनसा है कि किसी तरह से दिल्ली के बाद पंजाब और पंजाब के बाद आज इस तरह से पूरे देश के अंदर अपने काम के दम पर अरविंद केजरीवाल लोगों के दिलों में बैठ रहे हैं। आपको 2024 का चुनाव दिख रहा है, 2024 के चुनाव को देखते हुए आप ये कार्रवाई कर रहे हो बदले की भावना से, क्योंकि अब तक पूरे देश के अंदर यह प्रश्न था कि मोदी का विकल्प कौन है, मोदी वर्सेस कौन है। लेकिन दिल्ली के काम ने पंजाब में और पंजाब के काम ने अब पूरे देश के अंदर इस बात को स्थापित कर दिया है लोगों के दिलों में कि 2024 जनता के दिलों में यह बात जग चुकी है कि 2024 का चुनाव मोदी वर्सेस केजरीवाल होने जा रहा है। और इसलिए यह बात हम कहना चाहते हैं कि कहीं पर निशाना और कहीं पर निगाहें का जो आप खेल खेल रहे हो, इससे आम आदमी पार्टी और इसकी गति रुकने वाली नहीं है। आंदोलन के समय से लेकर के आज तक बहुत सारे षड्यंत्र हुए हम लोगों के खिलाफ, एक षड्यंत्र नहीं। जंतर मंतर के षड्यंत्र के बाद रामलीला मैदान में हम पहुंचे थे, रामलीला के षड्यंत्र के बाद आम आदमी पार्टी बनी थी। आम आदमी पार्टी में पहली बार जब हम जीत करके आए, उसके बाद षड्यंत्र हुआ, हम 28 सीट जीते थे, अगली बार 68 सीट जीत करके आए। तमाम सुंगलू कमेटी से लेकर के सारी कमेटियां आप बिठाते रहे, फाइलों को जांचते रहे, लेकिन उसके बाद प्रचंड बहुमत से अरविंद केजरीवाल दिल्ली में जीत करके आए। और दिल्ली के जीत के बाद प्रधानमंत्री जाकर के कह रहे थे पंजाब के अंदर अरविंद केजरीवाल अलग खालिस्तान राज्य बनाएगा, देश बनाएगा। सारा प्रोपेगेंडा किया आपने, हुआ क्या? पंजाब के अंदर जनता ने दिलों में बिठाया अरविंद केजरीवाल को, और वही डर है जो आपको ये सारे षड्यंत्र करने के लिए मजबूर कर रहा है। लेकिन हम दिल्ली के लोगों से और देश के लोगों से कहना चाहते हैं, हम जिस काम के लिए आए हैं वो काम हम करेंगे। दिल्ली के अंदर मौका दिया, दिल्ली में करेंगे। पंजाब के अंदर मौका दिया है लोगों ने, पंजाब में करेंगे। आप जितना चाहो सीबीआई, जितना चाहो आईटी की रेड, जितना चाहो ईडी की रेड, जितना षड्यंत्र करना हो कर लो। 2024 का चुनाव आप जितना हमला करोगे, अरविंद केजरीवाल लोगों के दिलों में उतना ही हीरो बनते जा रहे हैं। और 2024 का चुनाव एक षड्यंत्र करने वाले नेता के मुकाबले में एक काम करने वाले नेता के बीच में होगा, और जनता इसका फैसला करेगी। इसलिए ये बहाने बनाना आप छोड़ दीजिए। अगर बात करना है तो सीधी बात करो, आंख मिला के बात करो कि हम चाहते हैं कि 2024 से पहले किसी तरह से अरविंद केजरीवाल को जो है कमजोर किया जाए। लेकिन जनता की ताकत होती है लोकतंत्र में। जनता के दिलों में अगर अरविंद केजरीवाल बैठ रहे हैं, गुजरात के अंदर अगर अरविंद केजरीवाल लोगों के दिलों में बैठ रहे हैं, आप ये षड्यंत्र करके इसे रोक नहीं सकते। 2024 में मोदी बनाम केजरीवाल होगा, षड्यंत्र बनाम लोगों का काम होगा, और इसके मुकाबले के लिए जनता तैयार हो रही है। आप अपने बहाने बनाना बंद करो। थैंक यू। कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो ले लो। किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन है? नो, थैंक यू।
Well, that was a press conference there coming in once again from the Aam Aadmi Party. This has now become into a larger debate. Essentially, what the Aam Aadmi Party is now doing is using this as an opportunity to build up to 2024. They're now saying this is a rattled and a frustrated BJP because come 2024, it's going to be Modi versus Arvind Kejriwal. We'll keep tracking all these angles as they develop. We'll continue to chat with our colleagues as well. For now, slipping into a very short break, coming back with lots more.
Me live from Manish Sisodia's residence. Rupashri is tracking the Aam Aadmi Party's reaction. Ananya Bhatnagar is at the residence of the Lieutenant Governor. First to you, Akash. Any update that you have for us? I believe CBI officials are scrutinizing whatever files, documents they can lay their hands on at Mr. Sisodia's residence.
So, Arunima, this is the only information that we have, that CBI officers are very much inside this particular house. And if I can ask my VJ Vikas to show you the visual, this is the official residence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And we are learning that around 8 to 8:15, CBI officers reached this particular place. And since then, they are looking for some document, some official document, and are searching this particular place. Also, we are learning that other than this place, 21 other locations are also there. In fact, we are learning that all those 11 officers who were suspended just a few days back are being searched as of now, and 21 locations. This is what we have learned. Further, Aam Aadmi Party is calling it a vendetta politics, and on the other hand, we are seeing BJP, which is calling it a routine investigation, normal investigation, because they are saying that central government has nothing to do with it. CBI is doing its work. Also, this all started with the recommendation that were initiated by a Lieutenant Governor, where it was said that some financial quid pro quo happened in the excise policy that was implemented in November 2021, and talking about that particular policy, the whole Delhi was divided into 32 zones, and then licenses were given. Initially, it was decided that now we'll be having, liquor shops in the unauthorized colonies as well. But later we had an argument where Aam Aadmi Party said that initially it was, passed, but later, some questions were raised on the particular point where it was said that now, even unauthorized colonies will be seeing the liquor shops. And that's the reason why we are, hearing the name of previous LG of Delhi, Anil Baijal, because they are saying that Anil Baijal at last point raised some sort of question, and that's the reason why they could not open shops in the unauthorized colonies. And that's the reason why those who were provided with these licenses, they went to court, and that's the reason why, we face some sort of loss in the exchequer. Also, at this point in time, we are seeing some political developments. In fact, the war of words between the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, where BJP on one hand is saying that just because you are corrupt, you have violated the norms, rules and regulations. That's the reason why CBI is at your place and is doing the investigation. On the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are clearly saying at this point in time that BJP is, in fact, central government is misusing central agencies, and after Satin Jain, Manish Sisodia is the minister who is targeted as of now.
So the big story this morning onwards, Manish Sisodia's residence has CBI officials raiding. There are other raids also being carried out in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu, in other parts of Delhi and NCR. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party member of Parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला ये है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है, और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। ABG शिपयार्ड में 23,000 करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। अडानी के पोर्ट पे हजारों करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते।